Hi guys. I'm gonna wait for a bit until we have some people here and then we'll dig in. But until then, you can just watch me clean lint off of my pants. Not really. I'll just hook up my guitar in case. Yeah, it's gonna be an awkward first, like, I don't know. I guess it depends on how long it takes people to join me, but it could be 30 seconds. It could be an hour. Kidding, kidding. We won't make it an hour. That's odd. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Cool. That'll be set up just in case. Okay. Hi guys. I mentioned this on Instagram. I'm not really sure where to look. I'm just gonna look at my hair and maybe fix it. I mentioned on Instagram that I was gonna chat a little bit about YouTube. Like, for those of you who've wanted to build channels or who are building them and aren't feeling like you're gaining much ground or you don't feel like you've caught some momentum, I just wanted to answer questions. Not that I'm at all claiming to have mastered this, but I do know that along the way it would have been really important, really cool if some of the people who had been doing it a little bit longer or who had figured out some things, if they would have shared those things with me so that I didn't have to experiment my way to them. Ow, I just pulled the callus off. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll stop what I'm talking about if you do have any specific questions, but apart from that, I'll just chat about it and then, yeah, we'll see where it goes. Also, the other half of this is I just wanted to know what you guys are listening to or who you're listening to. So if my first priority is if you are a musician, singer-songwriter here on YouTube, or you know of one whose maybe primary platform is here on YouTube, I would love for you guys to point me in the direction of these artists. Hi guys, welcome. So yeah, if you know of any YouTube artists that maybe they can be bigger in subscriber number than I am, they could be smaller subscriber number than I am, but my first priority is looking for artists who use this platform to share, especially their original work. And then after that, who else are you guys listening to? So who's on your playlists? Yeah, that's all. That's what I was wondering. So twofold, I'll talk to you about YouTube stuff, and then I'd love to mooch your sounds. Like, what are you guys filling your ears with? It doesn't have to be in any specific genre. I think if you were to take a look at like the songs that I play, that might be like a safe start, but I'm definitely up to being surprised. So yeah, let's look at comments. I know it's been like 3 decades. Live streams are scary. Live streams are scary because like when your hair is doing something weird like this, or the lighting is kind of odd, you just kind of have to roll with it. But thank you for showing back up. Showing back up? What does that even mean? For showing up is what I meant to say. Recommend some good rock, some blues, maybe some heavy metal bands to listen to. Go for it. So list them. I'm pretty sure I can save the comments, so even if I don't get them down. Oh, I'm gonna grab this paper that I have under my camera. Come on, Bo. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, so how about if you have suggestions? So if you were here when I started, I asked if I could, select all and copy your playlists. Priority to YouTube artists, but I also want to just know what you're listening to overall. Like I mentioned on my little Instagram post, I'm kind of a ruddy kind of person when it comes to music. I'll find an artist or a band that I really love, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I'll just dig in and I will just listen to that person. I'm gonna turn on my computer. Oh, look, the light's softer. And I'll just listen to that person forever. Like I'll put in an album and I'll just listen to that album over and over and over and over. Nothing wrong with that. But once in a while, I find it hard to break out of that and find new people, new music, stuff that I'm potentially missing out on because I'm just kind of in this bubble. So I would love to pick your minds. Who are you listening to? What are you listening to? You can even share why you're listening to it. I obviously won't have time to jot that down, but that might help me prioritize who I listen to first. So that was the thing that people are responding to here. But then Kendall, you mentioned the whole YouTube channel thing. That's kind of what I want to address first, mainly because every now and again I get comments on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram, just curiosities about like, why did I start my YouTube channel, or how do I manage it, or what's proven to be helpful or successful, and what everything from like what kind of gear do I find appropriate for the type of YouTube channel that I host, and then I mean everything to like how long did it take for you to gain your subscribers, and did you do anything special? And I often feel like my response is super disappointing to people, because really it's just if I had to boil it down to a word, it's just hustle and consistency. But yeah, no one really likes to hear that, but we'll talk a little bit about the specifics. So Kendall, let's address that first. I wanted to start a YouTube channel but don't really know how. So I guess my first question, and I even like sat down and like tried to organize my thoughts, because I have to do that or I'm all over the place. For anyone who knows me, my stories are not very linear. I dance between different things, which is not wrong, but could be super confusing to people. So I have to write notes sometimes so that I could be helpful to other people who think differently than I do. So Kendall, it seems like a really obvious question, but my first question to you, and you can share it here if you're comfortable, and others of you if you're comfortable, my first question to you would be, what is your craft? So choose your craft. Like, what is it that you're wanting to highlight with a YouTube channel? So maybe we'll just start there. So any of you who've considered it, like, what would you, and it doesn't have to be anything sophisticated, but what would you want to show people? Like, what are you wanting to highlight? While you're answering that, I'll look up here. Ariel, I've missed you too. And thank you for still listening, even though live streams have not been consistent. Peter, Neil Young, Elliott Smith, stuff like that in your Holiday video. That's rad. Awesome. Yeah, if you guys can get specific with the music, so if you have a genre, you can totally just list the genre, but if it's one that I'm unfamiliar with, I won't really know where to start. AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Clearwater, Nirvana, Jimi Hendrix, Kiss, ZZ Top, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen. Every time I'm talking, my ear's popping. Music and inspiration. Cool. So I'm going to assume when you say music, you mean your own music? Music that you're either writing or music you're covering? Correct me if I'm wrong. And then inspiration, could you clarify what you mean by that? I think I could fill in the gaps, but I don't want to do that and do it wrong, you know, assume. As far as music's concerned, what I started off with worked for that time, but I really think that resources are a lot more plentiful and accessible, lower in cost these days than even when I started 7-8 years ago. So I started with just my laptop. I used photo booth, super poor video quality, and I borrowed a mic from my friend Nicole's brother Josh, and it was the Snowball, the Bluebird. So I have a Bluebird blue condenser mic, and it's proven to be really great for what I do right now, and one day maybe I'll upgrade. But for now it's good. I can accomplish what I need to accomplish with it. The Snowball, it was a USB mic, so I could plug it directly into my computer, and I was using GarageBand at that point. Oh no, at that point I wasn't. I would just press like record on a photo booth, And something odd happened, and someone who's a little bit more tech savvy could explain this to me. Probably like a year or two after those videos were first posted, the audio and the video wouldn't sync up, and I don't know if that was like as upgrades were made in YouTube, like my stuff was just so poor in quality that it wouldn't sync. I don't know. I've left a lot of those up there, mainly just as a reminder of, and I'll get to this later, like process. Maybe a coding issue. That's, okay. Thank you for the vocabulary term, coding. Anyways, I started there, and you don't have to start there. I mean, you can, but I think that you could get a really decent USB mic and camera for, I mean, you could even just do it off of your phone, assuming you have a phone. And I guess my biggest thing after you choose what your craft is you just have to, I hate when people say that, you just have to do this. Find a way to highlight it. So if you're writing songs, really dedicate some time throughout your week to write and not to get hung up on it being perfect. So I think I put, this is kind of skipping ahead, there's a lot of risks that are involved when you do a YouTube channel. 1, imperfection. 2, the commentary, the crazy trolling. There's extremes. I don't think you're gonna get some of those extremes, but those risks exist. And then the fact that your process is on display. So in my opinion, no work is ever completely finished. It's just further along. And because we live within a time, sometimes you just have to say for today or for this week or for this project, or at least this time frame that I've dedicated to work on this specific song or collaboration, whatever the case, this is as good as it's gonna get right now, and I'm gonna share it. And that can be really hard, especially if you're wanting to be excellent, if you're afraid of feedback. I see that too, I'm scared to share it. Yeah, or if you're just, it's a really vulnerable thing, especially, I think, I'm biased, but especially with your writing or your music. It's very personal. At least for me, it's very personal. So to put it out there and to know that the writing could be critiqued, the instrumentation could be critiqued, the videography or whatever the case could be critiqued, it can really cripple you, and it's completely understandable. You're not crazy for feeling that. And I would say share in spite of that. Yeah. A lot more people are willing to offer critique than they are to actually buckle down and learn the craft themselves. So it's easier said than done. I'm saying that, I'm thinking of like stuff that I've read or experienced, and yeah, it's definitely easier said than done. But I would say choose your craft like you have. Your hustle, you have to commit to the writing and maybe getting creative on how you find some equipment. So maybe just a camera, a phone. Maybe you don't even need a mic. You just do it on your phone for now, like this. And then I would say take those risks and take them frequently, or make them frequently. So I do mine once a week. Some people do it multiple times. The algorithms have shown that if you post often, that's good for your channel. So the likelihood of you being highlighted and growing in subscriber size is a lot better if you are posting frequently. And I'm not saying don't work hard to make whatever your content is great, but don't get so hung up on it being perfect, because it never will be, that you never put something out there. And I can get to that later, because that's a delicate dance between excellence and the reality of process, in my opinion. I feel like I keep having to disclaimer that, in my opinion. Okay, I'm gonna pause right there, Kendall, because I just completely went off. I think you play a Martin. Oh, 18. Is there a mic in front of it, or are you just picking up the guitar with the blue microphone by your mouth? Ooh, Peter, good question. I don't have my acoustic, the Martin, in the room right now. I have the resonator, which I'm not gonna play right now. I don't have a slide or anything. Usually when I play acoustic, once in a while I have experimented with miking it. Haven't had a whole lot of success on that, but to be honest, I haven't experimented a whole lot with that. And I don't have a great mic for picking up acoustic sound from the actual like sound hole. With my Martin, I do have a direct input, so I have tried before to run it through the amp or run it through the interface and then kind of apply effects on it through Logic, or at that point like GarageBand. I probably just haven't played enough with it to know the breadth of what I could accomplish with it. The nice thing about that, which I'm sure some of you just can pick up, is that if you do your guitar and your vocals separately, you have a greater ability to, I have hair in my eyeball. I mean, you can actually make adjustments to your vocals and your guitar separately, like everything from volume, EQ, compression, all that. With that being said, for my live takes, and that's something I had to make a decision about myself. So like I put like choose your craft and find a way to highlight it. And for my main weekly posts, I decided that I'd like it to be a live take. So I push record on my camera, push record in Logic, and then I just do a live take. Once in a while when I have the time or the spirit to, I'll add in separate guitar tracks or vocals, or I'll experiment and I'll do the guitar and vocals simultaneously but through separate, so that maybe I can have some more control over them. But for those live takes, most of the time I'm just recording it out of that Bluebird condenser mic. So yeah, I think in earlier years I would have been really self-conscious about that because it didn't feel, all the definitions I had in my mind of what was considered like professional didn't have space for what I was doing. But the older I get, the more I'm like, why not? Why can't it be like this? And especially if it's something that is enjoyable to me, like this is my time. If it's working for me, if the people who are meeting me at this channel are still able to feel with me through song, then it doesn't seem like it's a hindrance. I do want to make improvements upon it, and my natural curiosities want to figure out how I can build my home setup to a place where I can do not just like live one takes, but just, you know, the whole shebang. But until then, I still really enjoy the live takes. It still feels good amidst all my other work to sit down and do recordings in that way. So hopefully that answered your question. I always wondered how you got it so clear. Practice your skills in guitar. That is very generous of you. I'm just gonna say thank you, Peter. How about this? I know a fair way that I can accept that compliment. Oh, hi, Suri. And this would go for anyone who's starting your channel. I know this feels, it's easier to connect if you're doing music, but the benefit of finding a regular time to share, so if mine's like once a week that I'm gonna share an original or a cover, is it really builds in the same way if you were gonna go take lessons for an instrument or any sort of, if you're playing a sport, like that regular practice and discipline, it might feel easier at first when it's new and it's exciting, and then you kind of plateau and you're like, I'm not growing, this is boring, or you're just getting really frustrated. If you can commit to like a weekly post, maybe start with a weekly post and not try to do like 2 or 3, where you pick your song or you write the song, or you could, you know, you develop maybe an old song and add layers to it, is if you can record that, if you can put it up, as scary as that is, it ends up being a huge reference for you. Like there are a lot of things that on my not so great days, I'm like, I'm not growing, I'm not getting, not just better, but yeah, I'm stuck. And whereas that might be true sometimes, I'll go back and I'll look at old tracks, I'll look at not just old covers, but old originals, and especially when it's in a video, I can watch my posture, I can just, I mean, I know me well enough to know, like, do I look comfortable? Do I look stoked about what I'm singing about? Does it feel like, do I believe it? And then even down to like what you mentioned, my guitar playing or my vocals. Sometimes it's painful, and I look at it later and it's cringy, and I'm just horrified when students are like recently, my TA, he mentioned, he's like, what was your first video? And as it was coming out of my mouth, I'm thinking, please don't go watch it. But then I think I said that, please don't go watch it. And then I said, you know what, you can, just not here, because I'm a little shy about that. But I left it up there on purpose, and I left it up there for me, but also for other people to see, like, this was a long-term commitment, and it's super sexy these days to come across looking like you achieved great things with very little effort. And whereas that might be true for like 1 or 2 people here and there, I believe that is the exception. And I feel like most of the time, those really good, precious things that we can be proud of, that's like long haul stuff. That's the stuff where you publicly make big blunders. And don't get me wrong, I don't like making mistakes publicly. That's why live streams freak me out, Ariel. I know we mentioned like I haven't been here for a long time. I don't hate them, but I don't like, I get a little anxious before I do these because you can't edit it. You can't, like, you know, chip chop, stop, fix the hair, fix the hands, till you know, edit out all the times where I go like this, or I do this, or I laugh funny, or when you're singing, when your voice does something you did not expect, or the guitar, like the tempo slows down, it sounds odd. Like, you can't edit any of that out live. So I don't know, I just rambled. All I meant to say, Peter, was thank you, because I know that I've grown, and I know that because I left up all my risks over the last 7 to 8 years, and most of the time I'm super proud of leaving those up. Good old YouNow days. Oh my gosh. Do you guys know what YouNow is? Please tell me you guys. Yeah. I don't know if Peter's saying yes to YouNow. YouNow is, oh, I don't know. Ariel, you try to explain it. How many years ago was that? Like, that was such a good risk, but still a risk. Good risks, bad risks. There are bad risks where you weigh it out, you discern it, and you're like, this is not worth the cost, don't do it, or just straight up stupid. And there's other ones where you could lose a little bit of your pride, people might tease you a little bit afterwards, you might have to laugh at yourself. I don't know, I mean, there could be other things, obviously. I want to always be taking good risks, and YouNow is one of those. It was like a live streaming platform. There were like tons of different categories. The one that always stood out to me was the one where you could watch people eat and sleep. That says so much about us as people. But then people could like comment and kind of pay you with points. Ariel, correct me if I'm wrong. Coins. If you were like a big YouNower, you could actually make money. It was like monetized in a way. But yeah, there was some weird stuff. Live streaming site for mostly talented people, but became a stomping ground for trolls. Yes. I'm very grateful most of the time on YouTube and on YouNow, and definitely like an Instagram Live. Apart from students who are, sorry, my phone just did a weird glitch. Apart from students who are probably just trying to be super funny on live streams, I don't think I've gotten a ton of crazy stuff, but I definitely get my share of unsolicited advice. Yeah, unsolicited advice. Everything from my style, like my actual attire, to my music tastes, to, well, with music tastes, my song selections. Once in a while, you get like the troll or spam where it has nothing to do with your music, like someone's just going copying, pasting, like I'm imagining either like, this is so generic, I'm sorry, like a 57-year-old man or woman at home, just, or like a 10-year-old just going through and being like one time a kid left a comment and it was something like, haha, blah, 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 my sister sings a song, it sucks. And Whereas when I first started, anything that showed any sort of distaste or like they didn't like it or I did a horrible job of it, even if I thought it was stupid, it would crush me a bit. Now, those ones, like, they make me laugh genuinely. Like, I'm not saying that just to be tough. And then there's other ones where they either incorporate faith or religion into the commentary. It's almost like a corrective comment, or it's like, I look to this or that. Usually about my tattoos, but yeah. They sit with me a lot. They don't sit with me as long, is what I'm trying to say. How did I get there? Okay, I'm gonna look at your comments because I said this is gonna be open to comments and then I started chatting. Okay, I wanna make sure I go in order. So Suri, I said hi. Peter, I'm not sure what you said about the guitar never sounds as good that way, but maybe when I talked about like the direct input, I really like acoustic sound live, mic'd, if it's a great mic. But I've definitely been in situations, even like live shows, where like we'll just, usually like in a school setting, we're like, we'll just mic it, and then the mic's not even placed right, and then you're bonking it while you're playing, and it's just I was gonna say nightmare, but nightmare sounds just so first world problem. It's just super inconvenient, and then you don't sound great, and then anyone who doesn't know sounds like you really messed up on your song, and I just want to scream, it was the sound dude or chick. Okay. No. Let's see. Would I like to play slide guitar in my music? Yes, I would love to. I know you ask this every time. It's a good question because I have the resonator. And I even have a slide. It's right there on my bookshelf. I just haven't learned it yet. If any of you have any great resources online, hello, I know Google and YouTube, so I don't even know why I'm asking this, because I know how to use them. But if you know of one, so I don't have to like wade through all the crap, where I could get some basics on how to use a slide on my Gretsch, then comment below. That would be great. Thank you. Because I would like to learn that. Sorry, I'm reading comments right now for anyone who's wondering why my finger is on the screen. Look how weird my fingers look. It's like an alien. Couldn't give much pro advice because I haven't started putting stuff on my media yet other than snippets of my story. But I absolutely tune into what you guys great. Homies have to share. Homies have to share. Sweet. Just to remind you guys, if you just joined, I'm not gonna like reserve any time of the live stream for one or the other. You can just ask them, but I'm talking a little bit about what it's like to start a YouTube channel. All the, like, I don't know what word I'm going for. I was gonna say like a blueprint for how to start a YouTube channel, and just the stuff that I've had to pick through and wade through to get to the heart of like how to do it. If you have questions or commentary about that, or you have suggestions because you've done it yourself, feel free to comment. And then I'm also taking commentary when it comes to who you're listening to. First, who you're listening to on YouTube, and then after that, it can open up just in general. People and bands you're listening to. Okay, Erin, thank you for the reminder. That's good to set a regular time just for your own reference and personal growth. Hitting home. Yes, I feel the word plateau on so many levels, mostly creative. I get you. And the weird thing about a schedule is, I don't know, this is my own personality, and I feel this across the board. When I was younger, I was super, for a number of reasons that we won't get into right now, like breaking the rules or breaking schedule was just, like, would do some really internal damage to me. Like, I would freak out about it. I don't think I would tell people I was freaking out about it, but I was freaking out, and then I would feel like layering degrees of failure and disappointment. With that being said, as I've grown up, I've noticed that I am really initially cautious, but now I'm just much more attuned to how I set like boundaries or schedules for myself. So I have a lot of things I want to do in this life. Like legitimately, I'm gonna need to hustle to get them done. So the reality of that is like I'm finite. I don't have forever, and if I would like to do any of these things even half as well as I believe I should, then I'm going to have to create some sort of schedule or prioritize how I use myself, my resources, my time with people, my time alone, all that. So all that to say that when it comes to like my music in regards to sharing on YouTube, setting a schedule is just, I mean, there's just no way I'm gonna be able to do it unless I tell myself like, stick to this. But don't let your schedule become a trap or chains. And by that I mean like, most of the time I stick to that weekly schedule, and that gets me through those weeks where I'm tired or I'm lazy, or maybe I'm feeling like I'm losing inspiration. So I just commit, like, it's just one song, sit with it, do the best you can, share the best you can, and then move on to the next creative project. And then I have weeks like the last 2 weeks where my work at the high school was just so mentally taxing that my weekly schedule on YouTube, got totally disrupted. And I had to be okay with saying, the reality is life will go on. I might have disrupted it, but I can get back to it. So Erin, for you, yes, make a schedule. It will benefit you in your own practice and creative practice or creative process. It'll be good for your YouTube channel's growth overall, which will make things fun and easier in the future. And then when life just isn't letting you do it, just don't do it and rest. I'm sure there's somewhere some guy on YouTube who's gonna counter me on that. It's like, always stick to it, but I just don't think, if you're tired and your heart's not in it, then you'd be better off to rest and come back to it and do something that you're actually proud of putting up. Hey Dan. Okay, I'm scrolling back up. La la la. Blah blah blah. Yeah, to the amp never sounds as good. Yeah, Peter, I agree. Oh, thank you, Sheila, for the suggestions. Hi, Lily. Yeah, you now was good. So I'm reading these comments and I'm reading them backwards now. So this is odd because a lot of you commented based off of the person ahead of you, and I'm reading them completely backwards. Okay, let's see. So music suggestions, Leon La Havas. Ooh, I love her. I should go back. St. Vincent. Amber Mark. Deep Sea Diver. I like to listen to Monsoon by Amber Mark on the way out to work. And I'm sure there is this white, I was gonna say minivan, but it's not a minivan. It's like a 11 passenger van. Oh, what it's called. Also, I look like I'm like a bat. Yeah, 11 passenger van that always lines up at the light the same as me, and it must be a big family, or that mom is just amazing and is picking up everyone in the freaking neighborhood to take them to school. Which, now that I think about that, that's not so weird. Pretty much that sounds like our family. But they see me singing to myself every morning in the Jeep, and I usually have like a coffee held between my knees or like propped up because my cup holders aren't big enough for my little Stanley thing, and I have like wedged with like a beanie or something so it doesn't move. And then probably still trying to defrost my windows a little bit because it's starting to get cold, and then yeah, singing Monsoon. So a lot of this because I'm stick shift, you know. Anyways, that was unnecessary. Just a little story for you. I recommend tuning your chords to open tuning, like it sounds like a G chord. Okay. I'm glad I can keep the comments on this now, so I can time to go back. I said, well, could you do a cover of Sales by Pat Barrett? Why does that name sound so familiar? For those of you who like shared extensive song or musician or band recommendations, it says like all the comments will stick in the from the live stream, so hopefully I can just go back to that because I don't think I can catch all those. But I'll need to write these down. So I guess as you guys are sharing this, oh, Kendall asked earlier, so a couple of things I didn't mention to her when I was talking about starting your YouTube channel. Let's say you're doing music, because that's really the only one I can, not the only one, but it's what I have experience in. So choose your craft. I put find a way to highlight it. So this kind of goes with my third point, keep your personality. So whatever you kind of have to find a way to differentiate yourself, especially if you're just starting out. So YouTube and platforms like it, I don't know why I'm saying that, because is there anything that's really comparable to YouTube as it is? I mean, there are live stream platforms, but on YouTube, let's say, it's super saturated. There are a lot of people trying to do this, and I'm not saying that to discourage you or me from continuing in it, but we have to go into it fully aware of the reality of the situation, that's that there are a lot of people around the world, not just in the States, but around the world, who are not just consuming music off of YouTube, which is excellent and really good, but there are a lot of people creating and posting music. So don't let that discourage you. I'm kind of talking to myself right now. That could seem like oh my gosh, it's just too late to jump in. I disagree. Yes, the times are different than from maybe when I started, but what you can go into it now is you have access to cameras, to recording programs, to mics. Your access to those at more affordable rates, or even like to use and borrow them from people. It's just so much better now, and you can start putting content up there. And if you could find a way to highlight something about who you are and your personality, like, don't hide that. Don't try to become the person you've been watching for years. So like someone that I really love, Daniela Andrade. Does anyone know Daniela? If you've been on my channel for any amount of time, you know Daniela. She's rad. But she started like 4 years before me, 3-4 years before me, like right at like that. It was such a good time for her to start. So smart. Either so smart or so lucky, but either way, wonderful. She's a wonderful artist. So you have to walk a fine line between gleaning and mooching ideas and tendencies from artists that you like and that you want to grow by emulating. But you also want to make sure that you don't just create what they were creating because they've already done it. So don't be afraid of making your covers special to you. Yes, some people look for covers that are identical to the original artist or the original band, but in the long run, I believe that your story, your context, your personality, that if you could let that show consistently in whatever you share, whether it be your music or your DIY videos or your vlogging or your yoga practice videos or your thrifting, yard sale, hardcore videos, you have to tell your story through your business or your craft. If not, it might be attractive to look exactly like someone else, but it's just, yeah. I believe that consumers of music or just viewers on YouTube, they can sense most of the time when it doesn't feel real. So you might as well just be yourself, and it's gonna scare some people off. There's definitely times the more and more that I feel like I'm being me, the more often I get commentary about like, you should do more of this, you used to do more of this, why don't you do more of this? And whereas I don't like disappointing people at all, I'd rather them stick around based off of who I am than having to create an image. So you do have to create a brand, but you might as well create the brand around who you actually are, because you can keep that up. And it won't be so exhausting trying to remember what kind of brand you set. Yeah, I think that's what I was gonna say. But let's see, do you guys have any more comments? What's this platform called? It's been so long. Dan, this is called the YouTube. Hi, Alistair, and thank you. That's very kind and generous of you. Yeah, do you guys have any questions about that? I almost just said verbatim what I say to my students in class. I'll give this whole spiel and then go, does that make sense? I think it's when I sense that it doesn't make sense that I say that. Ooh, a little revelation. The tubes of you. Ew. Ariel. We should rename YouTube The Tubes of You. Could write a song about that. Ugh. Yeah, that just creates so many unpleasant visuals in my brain. More resonator, please. Okay. Hey, Vince. I keep wanting to write these down, but I know that the comments will stick afterwards, so I'll just read through the comments. I'm into the tubes of you. What instruments would you like to start playing again? Like instruments you used to play. Well, here's something you guys can hold me accountable to. And I hate that I'm saying this because this is one of those, like, this is one of those things, like, when I create boundaries or rules or schedules, it's not very often that I tell people outside of, like, my inner circle what those things are, because I don't want anyone just holding me accountable. Because I can be a little defensive, or I'll feel, like, misunderstood, like, you don't understand. I'm so tired. There's no time for that. But I've already started into it, so I might as well just say it. So y'all know I'm taking piano lessons, and it used to be, I was doing every week, and then we went to every other week just because of, like, I needed more time to practice to actually come back to the lesson with something, you know what I mean? No, we don't. And because I'm a teacher, during homecoming season, specifically with my job, I had no life. No, I did. It was just a very particularly high school homecoming life. So in anticipation of that, we went to once a month, and I realized it is very challenging as an adult with an adult who works, like, has a day job calling, and then music has been busy in the last couple months because I'm doing my own personal stuff, but I'm also get the pleasure of jumping in on my friend's band, which has been great. Just trying to figure out how to balance time like that. That piano practice just is really easy to skip because I'm not great at it. I mean, I'm not like playing it like with large animal paws. Like, I'm not just smacking the keys. I got some basics, but I want to be like shredding. And rationally, I know there's no way I'm going to be shredding at this point in my my learning, and especially in the last month and a half with my lack of practice. But no, I'm not so good. I'm not like, I almost just cussed really loud. I'm not like, I said like twice. Like, I'm not painful to listen to if I choose like one of 3 songs. And in that case, it's not painful, it's just painfully simple. Yeah? Yeah. But I would like to extend that to you. I'm going to regret this. I'm so going to regret this. Guarantee some 11-year-old's going to be messaging me, like, you said you're going to practice your piano. How come you're not, dum-dum? And then I'm going to say something smart alecky back and get in trouble from his mom. But you can hold me accountable to piano lessons. Or not even the lessons. The lessons will happen. The practice in between. It's just completely irrational to think that I'm going to get better if I'm not trying. So it used to be 15 minutes a day, and then I told myself 10 minutes, Bo, 10 minutes. Now I think I have to literally tell myself, just go downstairs to the piano for 5 minutes, because I know I'll stay longer if I can just do 5, but like, I'm going to try to go right after this. I'm probably not. I'm probably going to go get something to drink or refill my water, but no, I'm going to go after this. Am I going to go after this? I don't know. None of you will be here to keep me accountable, but you can message me. So you can message me here on this YouTube video. Come back to this video and be like, hey, Bo, how's your day? Did you do your 5 minutes? Yeah, can you guys do that? If anything, it'll make me laugh, and it'll make me go and practice. Please do For You again. Oh, yeah. Counting Crows. I'm getting song suggestions. Sorry, I chatted for a while and missed this. Okay, some Josh Garrels. He just came out with, or he's coming out with a new album, right? With Josh White. And I believe a fellow musician friend. She's singing some vocals on their album. I'm pretty sure. So Josh Garrels and Counting Crows. To add that. Well, right now I'm just adding it to a mental list, but I'm gonna pull them from your guys' suggestions afterwards. Gavin James, Kevin Jones, Jamie Lawson, Josh Doyle. Okay, oh my gosh, I can't read that. Oh, that's funny. Kakmarafaka. VNA, Alex Leahy, Anan, May, Ketrit, Mondo, Cosmo, Graham, Gurguire, Sisquan. Oh my gosh, thank you, Berlin Calling. So yeah, if you just hopped in, feel free to send me band or artist suggestions, especially if they're on YouTube. If you guys know any YouTubers who are about my size or smaller who, I mean, they can be covering music, obviously, but if they're sharing their original music too, I know I needed that. I still need that. I still need help with people who are enjoying my music, just word of mouth saying, hey, check out her stuff. Especially if you know that they would like it. Because I'm not trying to trick anyone into subscribing. I really just want the people who find value in it to, you know, find me and then stick around. Yep. Sorry, Lily, I'm like nodding to what you said. So some of these I have done. Let's see. Well, the Reckless Love. And then Vince, you're saying Do For You again. Funny thing, I tried to play For You at a recent live gig, but I haven't played it live. Like at a show in, I was gonna say ever, but that's not right. In a very long time. And I started into it. Like it wasn't even on my, this is like the notebook I take to every gig. I'm almost done with it. I need a new one. But sometimes I'll just feel led to like do a different song. And then sometimes it's a bad risk. And I hop into it and I go, oh no, I don't know this song. Or I know it, but not well enough to be playing it in front of people right now. Like I probably should have worked it out at home. Greta Van Fleet, thank you. And you played trombone in school too, didn't you, Isabeau? In middle school, I did play the trombone, but also the clarinet. And I think I tried the cornet, but that's like in, like at EL school on Maui. I don't know if this is what other middle school music programs do, but they give you a certain duration of time where you can just try out a number of instruments. So the trombone was one of those for me. I think my friend Vince played the trombone, and it just sounded like a good idea to be able to hang out with Vince more. And at that point too, okay, this doesn't sound odd, the line between what was feminine and masculine was very like definitive, and there was no crossover. Like if I, and let me add to that, when I was growing up, this makes me sound super old, so the social sphere, it still very much was a bad thing to say, like, you play like a girl, like especially in sports. So in my mind, what I was socialized, not really my family at all, but everyone else was, I either had to choose between being like, let's say good at basketball or good at something, or be a girl. Like you couldn't be super feminine, girly, and then good at basketball, I don't know, or the drums, or things that had been given like masculine attributes for one reason or another. Anyways, even if that's not what I believe in, that felt very loud when I was younger. And I remember being pretty tomboyish, even that term is kind of odd now, in my attire, like how I dressed and how I carried myself. So when people were playing the flute, like I had a lot of friends who played the flute and the clarinet, my little 11, 12-year-old mind was like, I can't do that. Then they're gonna know I'm a girl. I can't do that. So trombone, I tried the clarinet because I really wanted to be with my girlfriends too, but then probably folded to weird social pressures that aren't even accurate, and then eventually landed with the percussion, and I loved it. And there were men and women in percussion, and it didn't freaking matter. But it did, but it didn't. Wow, didn't imagine I was gonna share all that. Yeah, remember the Play Like a Girl days? My goodness. Be very proud to play like a girl. Play like a boy, play like a girl, just play like whoever you are. It's good enough. Bluesiest song you play on the Gretsch guitar. Oh my gosh, every time I feel like I'm disappointing this. I don't know. I don't know if I had a whole lot of exposure to blues. I mean, I had like the influence of like R&B and the way that blues maybe influenced that, but not like straight blues. Like, definitely don't feel like my guitar playing has a strong sense of blues in it. And not that I don't want it to have it, it's currently not there. My voice is sounding more and more scratchy. The original you did from 2015 with your resume was one of the best songs I've ever. Which one was that? Vince, do you know which one that was? I, for some reason, cannot think of that. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what it would be. Actually, oh my gosh, my computer's right here. Dum. Let's see. I don't know. You said 2015. It's not All at Once, right? Maybe, what is it called? Other Side. Oh, you're... I feel like I know which one you're talking about. It's called For You. Yeah. I'm looking at the thumbnail of it right now. I'm sitting on a couch and I have braids and I'm wearing like a jean vest. That's when I should know this because I'll like watch which songs get more views, and some of them sometimes it just doesn't make sense to me, like which songs get more viewage and which don't. It might even just be like how I am, the algorithms of like how I am labeling them. What's that called? SEO. That's important too. Ooh, we should talk about that sometime, any of you who are interested in building your YouTube channel. So it might be that, but it is always interesting to do a little research about like which songs are attracting more people. Like early on, my covers were definitely what got more views, and that made total sense to me. Apart from my family, I'm like, who would know my originals? Who even cares? But over time, when I started sprinkling in my originals in there and then talking a little bit more about them on YouTube or on Facebook or Patreon, slowly but surely, now I feel like unless it's like a really popular cover by artists that most people know, like are mainstream, my originals are kind of like more comparable in views to my covers, and sometimes they do better, which is interesting. But I don't know, some of the artists that I choose that are much further along than I am in their careers, in their how well known they are, and on their skill, sometimes they're within a very like specific listening group, and maybe people who are drawn to them aren't looking for the music on YouTube, they're looking for it on Spotify or Apple Music. And yeah, that's what I think maybe keeps those from being lower in views. Peter, thanks for joining. Have a good night's rest. And yeah, Vince, is that the song you were talking about? I think that's the only one from 2015 that I could figure out that has that lyric. Good night, Peter. Okay. I've kind of said everything that I committed to sharing, but I do want to put this out there. If you are just starting a YouTube channel, even if it isn't for music, because there is a lot of crossover, especially early on. But if you're starting something up or just recently started up and you have questions about like mics and cameras and things like that, like, is it really necessary to get a DSLR camera, or is it really necessary to get like a mic and an interface, and what computer programs do I use or not use? A lot of mine has come about through experimenting, Google, YouTube, and then slowly but surely making connections with other people who are kind of doing similar types of projects, and then just asking. And I know it would have meant so much to have been able to speed through some of these basics so that I could get started. Because there's a lot of work that I can't speed up for you guys in your craft. And you can't speed up for me. But when it comes to gear and just how to get started and how to not to get completely discouraged from posting, I can help you with that stuff so that you can just, you know, get to the nitty-gritty stuff of creating your work, your craft. Let's see. Sorry, I see a couple of things. Have I ever thought of slowing down your bitterness and playing on the resonator? Ariel, I have not. I also have not listened or played to that song in so many years. Holy moly. I'm gonna write that one down just so I feel like that'll get lost in the comments. Bitterness. Whew. I just had a flashback of one of the apartments I lived in, like my first year of teaching. I think that's where I wrote that song. Oh my gosh, that was so long ago. That's so cool. Thanks for listening to it. I'm so grateful that you guys are still listening to those old ones. That's just evidence, because I think I would have just taken that down. Because the recording quality was crappy. My voice wasn't like horrible, but it was really young. I probably wasn't super stoked on my lyrical choices and was still like searching for my sound or voice. I mean, I'm still searching for that, but I've landed in places that I feel much more at home with. But that's kind of fantastic that it can still mean something to you. So that's really cool and surprising, but cool. Good night, Lily. Thanks for joining me. And then let's see. It should be a worldwide hit. Do it again. Are you talking about, Vince, are you talking about For You, or are you talking about the one that Ariel mentioned called Your Bitterness? And then Aaron, let's look at yours. I remember finding you by accident because I was trying to do my own version of the cover. Listened to your originals. Cool. Aaron, I've done the same with like a lot of the people who are my favorites. I feel like I really slowed down. That's kind of why I wanted to do this video. I've slowed down and watching other artists on YouTube just because of time. But I want to get back to it because that's how I found a lot of other artists, was looking at singer-songwriters who were covering other artists. So then I would get connected to a song, like, ooh, where's that song from? And then I'd start like snowballing until I found that person or that band. Or the song was like cool, but it was more the artist who was covering it that drew me in. I have a stutter. No, I don't have a stutter, and I'm not mocking it. Oh my goodness. I did not mean to tease that. Yeah, that's really important to me. So again, if you guys know of artists who are putting their work out on YouTube, yeah, put their names below. I gotta find them. And then see if they'll, I was gonna say see if they'll find me, but I hate when people do that. When they don't listen to your stuff and they just comment below and they're like, come listen to me. And you're like, did you even listen to me? Did you? Come on, man. Okay. Well, I keep saying I'm gonna go and then I chat, which is true to form for me, but I'm really gonna go now. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. A lot of you need to get to bed. A lot of you need to get to bed, and I need to get to bed. Just kidding. I don't need to get to bed. I just need to go get a drink and of water. But it was really good to talk to you guys. And yes, you're always welcome to send me song suggestions. You can comment below here. A lot of it is just what hits for me. Early on, I tried to cover all of them. But with finite amount of time, if you send me an artist or a specific song, I will definitely listen to it. And then if it kind of just, if it resonates, or if it hits a specific chord in me, I'm like, oh, that is good. Then I feel excited to play it. So yeah, send it to me. Nothing personal if I don't play it, but please send me artists' names and their music. I would love it. If I send it, oh, Vens would be an original. Okay, I'm down. Definitely send it. Bottom line, I'm just gonna listen to it and probably love it. And I hate that I just said probably, because now you're probably nervous that I'm not gonna like it, but I'm going to. And then yes, I was gonna say, you can also remind me on this video to go practice piano. Ariel, I will practice right after I get off this live stream. Promise. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna figure out how to get out of here. Oh, like that. 1 second. Actually, I want to see what this button is. Oh, no, not gonna do that. Okay. Bye, you guys. Talk to you later. Oh, nope. I was about to say something else. I'm just gonna go. Okay, bye.